Hey guys, it's Vicky here. Let's talk The Walking Dead. So as you guys probably already know, the Season 11 Part B of Walking Dead has already come back, and so this will be my review of Season 11, Episode 9. This episode is titled No Other Way, and if you guys have not already watched this episode, just like all my other videos, if you guys have not watched it yet, I highly suggest you go back and watch the episode first before watching this video, because I will be deep diving into every single scene. So to avoid spoilers, watch the episode first and then come back here and see if you agree or disagree with what I have to say in the for the episode. And with all that being said, let's get straight into it. The episode starts with a herd of walkers intruding Meridian, and missiles from the Hwacha are fired into the herd. Maggie is amongst the walkers and she hides from the walkers, trying to dodge the missiles. She makes her way behind a wall where she sees a Reaper trying to hide as well. The two fight, and Maggie gets the upper hand. She pushes him into the line of fire, and the Reaper blows up seconds after he is hit by a missile. Maggie runs off into a building to get to safety, and she finds Negan carrying an injured Elijah. Maggie leads the two into the infirmary where they find Carver scouting it out. Now with these opening minutes, I really like that they picked up right off where we left off in the previous episode, where Leia is on top of the building. She's firing the Hwacha right into this herd of walkers where Maggie and the others are. And I just really like that they did not hesitate to just go right into it and basically have Maggie face off with this Reaper, and just shows what the Hwacha can actually do. It literally just blows up walkers and basically any person that it hits. And I really like that. The only, I would say, issue I have with the scene is that clearly Maggie's not wearing her Whisperer mask anymore. She's not trying to blend in with the walkers, since they already know that she's there. My main issue is that the walkers aren't really paying her any attention, and she's clearly not using the blood and guts trick, and her mask is off and she's walking like a normal person would. And I found it weird that the walkers didn't really surround her or swarm over her, just because she's not trying to blend in anymore, and they should be able to tell, I guess, that she's not a walker and that she's basically their food. And I guess the only thing that I can really think of to debunk that would be the walkers aren't looking at their surroundings. They are paying attention to this really, really bright beam of missiles, the Hwacha light on the very top of the building. They're just focusing on that. But then it's that's kind of a long shot. But at the same time, I guess I can let it go just because I don't want anything to happen to Maggie. But that was the main thing that kind of not really irked me. It was more, I didn't really understand why, other than writer's convenience and making it so that Maggie has plot armor. But we don't have to get into that. So when Maggie basically brings Elijah and Negan to the outside of the infirmary, it's they can't go in yet, obviously, because Carver's already there. But Negan, he's again trying to get them to just leave with all the food. And Maggie brings up a good point, and she basically just shuts him down, because she's like, what do you expect us to do? Walk out of there with all of the food? And Negan kind of rebuttals. He's like, yeah, we walk out of there. It's first of all, Negan, stop being dumb, because the Reapers are not going to just let you walk out of there. That's not happening. And Maggie, she's looking out for all of her people. She's saying that they're not leaving, first of all, without Daryl and Gabriel, because she's not leaving them behind. She's not the type to leave her people behind. And, she wants to kill all of the Reapers, because if she doesn't, they're going to follow her, and she does not want to risk that. She doesn't want to risk Herschel. She doesn't want to risk anyone at Alexandria for them if they're being followed home by the Reapers. And we know how skillful the Reapers can be. After the opening minutes, we're brought back to Alexandria. Lydia and Rosita are fighting off the walkers that got into the house. Diane comes down to let them know that Judith and Gracie are missing. The scene then switches to the young girls, who are trapped in the flooding basement of the house. The walkers eventually break through the basement door, forcing Judith and Gracie to go further into the basement. Aaron is outside trying to put out the flames of the windmill with Jerry when he sees Magna, Connie, Kelly, and Carol. Aaron calls out to them to regroup. He then hears a whistle in the distance and recognizes it as his emergency signal with Gracie. This scene is short, and I don't really have much to say about it other than I like that they brought back the whistle that Gracie has with Aaron, because like if even if they didn't touch back on it, I would have kind of honestly forgot about that small detail, but the fact that they did bring it back and they put it to use, I really like that small thing. As Gabriel is going around Meridian on his own, a Reaper spots him and tries to shoot at him from a distance. Before he can pull the trigger though, Daryl tackles him and the two fight it out. Daryl eventually gets the Reaper in a chokehold and kills the Reaper before Leia and a few other Reapers get into the room. Leia and the Reapers go off, passing Daryl, who is hiding behind a movable blackboard. He waits for them to be far enough before coming out of his hiding spot and going off to find Maggie. Okay, so with this fight scene, I was slightly confused because at first I thought that the Reaper, who we later learn his name is Austin, he swings at Daryl with, I think it was like a machete, and then it looks as if he stabbed Daryl in the arm or the shoulder. But then afterwards, like, there's nothing there. Like, Daryl is clean, he's like basically unharmed in that general area, and I'm just a little confused because I watched the scene over again just to see if there's any, like, injury in that area, and I didn't really see any. It's just the scene made it seem like he got hurt there, because if you look at it, Austin swings at Daryl, and I don't know whether it was just like a weird kind of sound effect, but I kind of heard like blood and like a sort of like a squelching sound effect, and Daryl was like grunting in pain like he does when you get stabbed. So like I was very confused, and like when you look at the scene, there's like a blade kind of looking like it's coming out of Daryl's shoulder, but then there's no blood on it, so I don't know what happened there. Like, where did the blade go? Did it kind of miss and Daryl's just like holding on to his arm just so that he can't get to him? Or I don't know what it was. It's just confusing. And I was like, at first when I saw it, I was like, oh no, Daryl's hurt. But then afterwards, like, I looked throughout the episode and he doesn't even have a cut on his, like, that arm. I think it was his right arm, if I'm not wrong. And like, he seems fine. Like, he had blood on his arm, but then I don't know if that was actually supposed to be his blood or not, but then his arm is fine. So I was slightly confused by that. And even when Daryl stabs Austin to make him back off and stuff, we didn't really see where the blades went, or like, basically Austin drops his blades, like he backs out, not really holding any of his blades, and so like, I didn't hear any of that, of like those, the clang or the thud of like a weapon dropping. So either it was just like, I don't want to say it was badly done, because it was a pretty intense fight scene. It's just camera angles just made it a little bit more confusing, and I was confused of actually what happened, but in the end Daryl won, and that's all that matters. I do have to say though, I kind of found it funny that Daryl had Austin in a chokehold, and that brings me back to season 1, all the way back to season 1, I think in the episode Tell It to the Frogs? Basically Daryl's first episode that he appears in the show. Basically, Shane gets Daryl in a chokehold, and Daryl's like, chokeholds are illegal, and then they've also brought that back in season 8 when Daryl gets Rick in a chokehold, and now Daryl's using the chokehold again. I don't know, I just really, like, it was, that to me was kind of like a small throwback, and I like those things. Gracie and Judith are on top of the table in the middle of the flooding basement as walkers come down the stairs towards them. Gracie is continuing to blow her whistle to call for help. The girls try to find a way to climb up to the windows. and see the pipes along the ceiling, but as their attention is on the pipe, a walker reaches the girls and tries to reach for Gracie. As they're caught off guard, Judith tries to stab at the walker with her sword, but drops it into the water. The two struggle on the table, about to get surrounded by walkers when Aaron comes to save the day. He breaks the window with his mace arm and ushers the girls towards the window. He makes sure to get the girls to safety, then fights off the walkers, flooding into the basement. Now, I had to watch this scene like a few times just to make sense of it. Obviously, we know what's going on, like Gracie and Judith are trapped in a flooding basement with walkers coming down the basement. That's not what I was confused about. It was more... They were, the first time I watched it anyway, they were keeping their eyes on the stairs, the one way that the walkers had to come down to the basement towards them. But then they somehow get startled by one that was under the water that's not exactly that tall, but then it might have tripped or something like that. But at first I was like, how did they not see this walker and how did they get snuck up on? But then I watched it a second time, and basically both of them are looking around the basement just to try to figure out, like, both of them are looking at the ceiling, they're trying to find a way out of the basement. And because they were looking around, they were distracting themselves with, like, their escape plan, basically. And that is how the walker just came out of the water and grabbed Gracie, and that's how they got startled. And I was like, okay, that's much better than what I first thought, because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. If they're looking at the walkers coming down the basement, how are they getting startled by these walkers? But now it makes a lot more sense, and I'm just rambling on and yeah, explaining myself away. Gabriel finds his way to the Church of Meridian where he meets the Reaper's priest. He tells Gabriel that he knows he was outside of the graves, watching him, and the two begin to have a heated debate on whether either of their families are worth saving or killing for. Gabriel ends up killing the priest after hearing a gunshot in the distance. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this in the previous video, or if I haven't, or my previous review video, and if I haven't, I definitely thought it. I wanted these two priests to just, like, fight it out. I wanted, like, Gabriel to fight this Reaper priest. And at the same time, we never got it. We just got, like, a discussion. And I'm like, that's anticlimactic, but I guess it makes sense because they're priests. They're not supposed to be fighting. They're supposed to, like... I just wanted to see them fight, but at the same time, it's like, I get it, because this Reaper priest is just preaching away, and Gabriel's like, no, your people should die because they're bad. And it was that argument, so I guess you could say they did battle it out with their words. I just wanted to see, like, a more badass Reaper priest, I guess, versus our badass Gabriel, because honestly, I'm very impressed with Gabriel in the season. I'm very impressed. But yeah, no priest fighting priest, but at least Gabriel won in the end, so that's what matters. I just really wanted a battle between those two, not a verbal battle, like an actual physical, like, hiya battle. When Gabriel was getting closer to the priest, he was, like, it looked as if he was starting to get convinced by the Reaper priest's words, but then it was like him hearing the gunshot was all he needed, and it felt as if when he heard the gunshot, he was like, that is God's calling sign that I need to kill this guy. And then right after, he, like, shanks him, basically. And, like, I found that rather symbolic, just because they're talking about whether Gabriel can still hear God, and it's like, the gunshot was kind of like that symbol to Gabriel in that moment. And so I found that was, like, really meaningful, even though I still wanted a fight. But they were fighting with the words, and I get it. And it's like, I still wanted to fight though. Maggie is getting chased by Carver, and he has her cornered. However, this seems to be Maggie's trap as Elijah and Negan come out, surrounding Carver. The three of them take on Carver, but as he has military training, he gets the upper hand of the fight. Negan then finds a bell and some sand in another room, and decides to use it to his advantage. As Carver is distracted with Elijah, Negan throws the sand in Carver's face and knocks him out with the bell. Elijah gives Maggie a silent signal to kill Carver, but before she can, Daryl stops her, coming up with a plan to use Carver as hostage in exchange for the food and getting out of Meridian alive. Daryl then radios Leia to negotiate. So, with the fight between Maggie, Negan, and Elijah versus Carver, I can't say that I was at all surprised when the three got beat by this one guy, mainly because he's a mercenary. He has military training. He is trained in combat. He knows how to fight. So, like, even though it was 3-on-1, I'm not surprised that Carver got the upper hand, especially because, okay, Maggie, she is super strong, like, mind-wise and everything like that. She's a strong female character. I love her to bits. But she's not exactly trained in fighting. Like, we know that she can fight, but then you're not going to call her a martial artist. And you're also not going to call Negan a martial artist. Sorry, guys. But, like, those two, even teamed up, they're not exactly, like, swift. I feel like I'm talking bad about them, but I swear I'm not. It's just, like, their skill set is no match for the Reapers, who have all of this combat training. The only person that I would say out of these three who had a chance to fight Carver would have been Elijah, but then he was injured, and, like, that's why he couldn't really land any hits on him, also because he was also very emotional. But at the same time, he was emotional and he was injured, so, like, there was a clear disadvantage there, even though it was 3-on-1. And it's just, like, they might not have known it, but then I'm pretty sure Maggie would have known their skill sets, and it's just them thinking that they would be able to win this guy in a fight. Just, I don't know, they were hopeful, but at the same time, I cannot say I am surprised that they were losing this fight. Not gonna lie though, Negan's one-liner in this episode is the best, and I want it on, like, a merch shirt or, like, a cup or something, because just, I don't know, that line's most likely going to stick with me, because, like, right when he smashes Carver's face with the bell, he looks at him and he's like, well, ding ding, and I'm like, Negan, your one-liners are the best. Like, I swear, he has the best dialogue, and it's just, I love his one-liners, and I want that on, like, a mug or a shirt. AMC, please make that. One of the biggest things I did not like about this scene was when Daryl came and he basically tried to convince Maggie and them to use Carver as hostage to get what they want. And then Maggie just calls him out and asks him, is she doing this for her? And it's like, Maggie, do you not know Daryl? Yeah, he said that he cares for Leia, but then Maggie is more family to Daryl than Leia ever will be. And it's like, he's doing this for them. So it's like, I kind of got offended for Daryl when Maggie said that. And I get that, I'll explain in like afterwards, but that I get that they're trying to cause tension. The writers are trying to cause tension between Daryl and Maggie. And, like, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I did not like how Maggie was just like, are you doing this for her? And then it's like, Daryl's like, no, do you not know me? It's like, he kind of did also sound offended when he was saying, no, I'm doing this for us. Daryl's plan was the most logical in this situation, especially because he did also explain himself already that if they kill Carver, not everyone is going to make it alive. Like, the people who did make it back here, not everyone would have if they did decide to kill Carver right then and there. And, like, his plan was the safest one that they could really take. Could they trust Leia? Probably not. But, like, it was a chance that they had to take in order to try and guarantee everyone's safety. Although I have to point out with this scene, I can definitely see a parallel with something that happened in previous seasons of the show. Here, Daryl is preventing Maggie from killing Carver, who killed Elijah's sister. And Maggie had previously made a promise to kill Carver or have Elijah kill Carver, just basically making sure that Carver's dead for killing his sister. But then Daryl stops that. that parallel that I'm talking about is with Negan, Rick, and Maggie. Well, and Glenn. Because at the time, Rick had promised Maggie that he would kill Negan, or basically Negan would end up dead for killing Glenn. And then Rick stopped it from ever happening, and basically he broke his promise. Maggie doesn't want to break that promise because she knows how that feels. So there's that huge parallel here that I see, and that's why they're getting so emotional about it, because like, Maggie doesn't want to break this promise to Elijah, and it's just, I found that kind of parallel really, really cool, that connection really cool, and it's just, you can see it on Maggie's face that she has to have Carver dead. She has to kill Carver for Elijah. Jumping back to Alexandria, Rosita tells Lydia to go check the whistling sound that came from the basement. Aaron is frantically fighting the walkers. Then he climbs up on the table and gets himself on the pipes along the ceiling. Lydia eventually goes to find Aaron in the basement, and then she helps him out of the basement, using rope to pull him out. I don't think that there has been really a bonding moment between Lydia and Aaron. So with this scene where Lydia gets him out of the basement and he thanks her, and then Lydia basically, she's the sweetest thing ever. She tells him that he would have done the same for her. Like, there's this like small moment of silence, and he looks at Lydia. He's like, yeah, I would. And it's like, it was a really small scene, but like that one moment, it's more like, oh, you do see yourself as one of us. You don't see yourself as an outsider anymore. So, like, we're your family. And it's like, Aaron kind of just has that realization, because the look that he gives Lydia is not one of, I don't trust you. It's like, no, I wouldn't do the same for you. It's more of the realization that she sees herself as one of the Alexandrians rather than an outsider. Daryl, Maggie, Elijah, and Negan take Carver to the area where they are supposed to meet up with Leia to negotiate a trade. Daryl gives Maggie a gun for protection just in case things go wrong, and he calls out to Leia through the walkie. Daryl brings Carver out and meets Leia and the other Reapers. Daryl tries to negotiate with her, but then she calls out to a Reaper through the walkie, and he shoots a warning shot from his sniper rifle. Leia calls out everyone and forces Daryl to release Carver. Carver then begins to provoke Elijah, but then he is shot in the leg just before he's able to kick Elijah, who's on the ground. Gabriel reveals himself as the shooter and warns that they should back off, otherwise the others will be next. Leia calls back the other Reapers and tries to renegotiate with Maggie. She eventually decides to let them go, but as the Reapers walk away, Maggie changes her mind and shoots the Reapers, killing 2 of them. She comes back to finish off Carver, killing him with Elijah's weapon. Daryl chases after Leia, who had been shot, but then he lets her go. Okay, so first of all, Gabriel. Gabriel is so badass in the scene. Like, he was in the scene for like, what, 5 seconds? But he had such a huge impact. And I was so impressed with him. I was like, yes! Go, Father Gabriel! You are amazing! And then I'm pretty sure, like, the feeling of pride that I had is equivalent to Negan's pride for Gabriel, because he looks up, he's just like, yep, that's Gabe, that's our Gabe. And like, just Father Gabriel, just really applauding and kudos to Father Gabriel, because he was amazing in this episode. So when Maggie kind of breaks the deal and goes off to shoot the Reapers, like, at first I think that she was planning to let them go, but then Elijah's words just trigger her, because he says for Josephine. Josephine is Elijah's little sister who got killed by Carver. And then he says for everyone. Like, obviously he's very emotional. He's distraught because he's like, their killers are getting away. And that just sparks something in Maggie, and you can just see it. That, like, she's leaning down towards Elijah, and then when he says it, she does this realization. And I think Negan's words are playing in her head that she needs to kill all of them, otherwise they're gonna come back and, like, destroy them. Since, like, that's how the Reapers are kind of presented, and honestly I think the Reapers are the strongest enemy that our group has faced, because with the governor wasn't exactly, the governor was literally just one man, like, and he was, like, persuading and, like, manipulating other people to do his dirty work. And then the same thing with Negan. Negan was just one man leading, like, people who weren't exactly fighters. Like, he had an army, but then you cannot say that they were military-grade trained armies. And then with the Whisperers, they were only dangerous because of the walkers that they used. Like, they could use huge herds, and numbers were their biggest advantage. With the Reapers, though, they had not as many numbers as the Saviors had or anything like that, but their skill set, I'm pretty sure if you put the Saviors versus the Reapers, the Saviors would have been wiped out within a night, based off what we've seen in, like, the first 3 episodes of season 11. Like, their skill set is really up there, so I think that this was definitely the strongest enemy skill set wise, and just based off of that, Maggie killing off the rest of the Reapers, or at least trying to kill off the rest of the Reapers, is, in my honest opinion, the smartest thing she could have really done, because the Reapers are vengeful. Like, they are strong, and, like, if you don't kill them off, they're gonna come back and try to get revenge for their family, since they literally killed off their entire family, and I'm pretty sure Leia's the only one left. And even then, I think that this is not the last we're seeing of Leia anyway, and, like, that's just a hunch I have. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Leia's gonna come back in one of the episodes, and whether she's gonna wreak havoc on Maggie or not, I don't know, but we shall see on that. But anyway, I think that Maggie made the right choice in trying to wipe out not the Saviors, in trying to wipe out the Reapers, also because she's just trying to protect her family, and she knows that in order to do that, these Reapers cannot exist anymore. On a more, like, editing and technical note, I absolutely loved it when they kind of played a small soundtrack that started off as like a low volume to, like, gradually getting louder, and that was when Maggie basically realized what she had to do. So she was just, like, leaning down to get Elijah, and then she realizes that she cannot let the Saviors go, let the Reapers go, sorry, I keep saying Saviors, and it's just, the symbolism behind the soundtrack is just, it was beautifully done, and I absolutely love that, because as she was walking towards it, just kept on getting louder and louder until, like, the gunshot rang, and it's like, it was so, that soundtrack was really menacing, but at the same time had, like, a tinge of justice to it, and it was eerie justice and just Maggie. It was so well done. I loved that. Maggie, Negan, Gabriel, and Daryl pack up the food and supplies in the carriage to take back home, and Maggie goes off on her own to go back to the church she and Negan had left Alden in. Unfortunately, she finds him as a walker crawling on the ground, and she puts him down. She buries him on the church ground, where Negan finds her and tells her that he's going off on his own now, exiling himself from the group. Now, when Maggie is walking towards the carriage, like, it's visible on her face. Like, it's very obvious that she knows that Daryl is mad at her, and she's upset that he's angry at her for, like, shooting at the Reapers and basically breaking their deal. But the thing is, there's nothing that Maggie could have said to make it better, just because she did what she did. She did what she felt that she had to do. And, like, she can't just say, sorry, I shot at your friends, or, like, people that we made a deal with. Like, what's done was done, and, like, I'm pretty sure Maggie doesn't regret doing what she did, because, like I said, she thinks that she did the right thing for her people, for her family, for her son. So, like, as upset as she was that Daryl was basically now giving her the cold shoulder, and her knowing that Daryl is angry with her, there's nothing she could have done. And with Alden dying, okay, I'm not even gonna say that I'm surprised. I'm honestly not surprised. I'm just upset because I wanted to be hopeful, but it's Walking Dead. You can't be hopeful with death. Like, it was rather predictable, because you just leave him in the church with absolutely no food or medical supplies. I don't even know if they were able to properly patch up his wound before leaving. I don't think they had the supplies to do that. And, like, he was struggling to walk anyway, so he didn't really have a chance especially since there was a Reaper in there. I think the first walker that Maggie had fought was of a Reaper, but at least Alden killed him, and now I'm just worried about what's going to happen to Adam. Well, not really worried, mainly because I'm pretty sure Maggie's going to take care of him and just take him under her wing just because it's Maggie. She's not going to let that happen or anything happen to Adam. So I guess the only thing I can say about, only good thing I can say about Alden dying is that he is now reunited with Enid up in heaven, if there is a heaven. But yeah, they're now reunited and they don't have to live without each other anymore, so there's that. So when Negan walks up behind Maggie when she's finishing off with Alden's grave, he's holding like a pipe-like weapon, and there is like a very subtle snippet of Negan's soundtrack. And you guys know how I feel about soundtracks. It was the best add-on because it's like you don't know what Negan's there to do. Like, he went off, he followed Maggie to the church because he's the only one who really knew where it was. And he's just like walking up behind her, and then he makes this speech about like, you are always gonna do what you're gonna do regardless of promises, and like, I know that I'm next. That's basically what Negan says. And until he says that he's leaving, you actually don't know what he's planning to do, especially with a pipe in his hand. And it's like, Negan is very unpredictable when it comes to anything, so like, you can't really trust him. Maggie can't trust him, really. Like, regardless of how many times Negan saved her, Maggie still hates his guts for obvious and reasonable reasons. And so, what I loved about this scene was Lauren Cohan is beautiful. She is an amazing actress, and like, when Negan was finishing up his little speech, she did like a really subtle thing of slowly reaching back to get her knife. And it's like she only kind of she was very cautious, and like she was like, is Negan going to kill me now? Is he going to try to kill me? I can't let him do that. And she only kind of relaxes and calms herself down when Negan's basically like, I'm gonna go off on my own now. And just kudos to Lauren Cohan for adding that little like subtlety to her actions, because I loved that detail. I love Maggie, and I love all of the actors in The Walking Dead. They're so damn talented. Later in the night, Daryl is sitting at the campfire with Gabriel, and the two discuss whether the way they're doing things is right or wrong. Maggie comes back and lets them know that Alden is dead and that Negan had left. I think that this is the very first conversation, like one-on-one conversation we've ever had with Daryl and Gabriel talking, and like, it was, their dynamics actually, I liked it. It was cool. But I think when Gabriel asks Daryl, like, he's basically like, I heard what you said about us doing it all wrong, and I think what Daryl meant by that is he doesn't want to fight wars anymore, just because every single time there is a war that is fought, one community of people have to fall or all die in order for the other to win. Like, it was the same for Woodbury and the governor, well, although Woodbury was taken in, but then they all died anyway at the prison. But then there was also, let's say, Terminus, the Saviors, the Whispers, and now, I was gonna say the Commonwealth, not the Commonwealth, the Reapers. Like, they all have to, like, entire communities have to fall in order for the war to be over. And I think that's basically what Daryl means. He's like, because when he tells Leia to go, he says that like, we both could have had another chance, and I think what he meant by that was like, not that they would be together again. It's more, Daryl goes off to his own community and has like, lives his life, while Leia goes off with her Reapers, or what's left of the Reapers, and like, they have their own second chance at like living life. And when, like, I think that's also why Daryl was so mad at Maggie that like, she broke off that deal. Like, he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want an entire community to fall just for another community to win. And again, they're building the tension between Daryl and Maggie, and like it's rather worrying, and I will get to why at the end of this episode's review, just because like there's a big moment there where it makes it really, really obvious. But in the scene where Maggie comes back, she basically kind of ignores Daryl when he calls out to her, and she goes straight to Elijah, and he's just like, okay. One thing that I missed in the previous scene, but I'm going to say it now because it's also relevant, Dog is back, and I'm happy that Dog is back with Daryl. He is safe. I missed Dog a lot. The storm at Alexandria is finally cleared as Jerry and Carol are on watch, and they see Maggie's carriage coming back home. They're all reunited with the families, but deliver the devastating news that some of their people had not made it back. As others are putting away the supplies and food from their run, Jerry calls out to them to let them know that there is something else coming. Honestly, with any reuniting scene in this show, I absolutely love, because it's just so cute, and it's like all the hugs, and Judith and RJ running up to Daryl, and like just big hugs all around, and then Herschel being reunited with Maggie. It's just, it was really, really, really freaking cute. And then you get Daryl finding out that Connie is actually back at Alexandria, and I just love that, because like the way he reacts is just like, he sees her, literally drops all of the apples on the floor just to go to hug her, and like, oh, that was adorable. I love reuniting scenes. It's so freaking cute. And then obviously our group can't catch a break because Jerry shouts that there's something else coming, and like he has like a really worried face. He is just like shouting at everybody, like, there's something else coming! And then there's like a small snippet, a very, very small snippet of Gabriel. He just puts his head back and basically he's just like, what now? What the hell? We just lost a bunch of people. We just fought these people who like were going to literally murder us all if I hadn't sniped them. And he's just like, there's more? We literally just got back home. What the heck is happening now? And it's just, I love that Gabriel was able to convey that through just one like expression with absolutely no words. He's just like, it's just, I love that. And like, obviously, same, Father Gabriel, same. The Commonwealth soldiers ride up to the gates of Alexandria, but before Maggie and Daryl can shoot at any of them, Eugene runs out to tell them that they're all friends and they're here to help. Eugene introduces Lance to the group, and he makes an offer. Help them rebuild their fallen communities or come to the Commonwealth. Now, I really liked it when Eugene was the one to run out from behind like the Commonwealth horses just to be like, no, they're friends, like don't shoot at them, don't make enemies, they're actually here to help. That kind of reminded me and brought me back to season 7's finale. Obviously they're very, very different scenarios because Eugene had betrayed Alexandria and he was basically trying to get the saviors into Alexandria. And it's just, I find it funny that it's always Eugene bringing back other communities to Alexandria, whether it's to fight or not. But like, it's just, it's not that much of a parallel. I just found similarities, and it kind of just brought me back to season 7's finale. So, for obvious reasons, Daryl, Carol, Maggie, and basically every single person in Alexandria are not at all like trusting towards these people. Like, they're very skeptical, and like you can't really blame them because everything that they've been through already, they lost a lot of their communities, and like they're not exactly in the best times right now, so like they can't really be trusting of a completely new group that they've never seen before, especially if like they're rolling up to the front gates in armor. Like, for everything that they've been through, you can't really blame them for being skeptical and like not trusting, and especially since everything that Lance is saying, it really sounds too good to be true. The final scene of this episode is a 6-month time skip, and we see Maggie standing on watch at the hilltop. She's looking down at the Commonwealth soldiers and tells them that it doesn't have to be this way. A soldier then walks up to the front and removes his mask, revealing himself to be Daryl. He looks up at Maggie and tells her that yes, it does. Okay, so when I first saw this scene, my very first reaction was to panic, because it's Daryl and Maggie. Why the heck are they fighting? Like, why are they on different sides? What's going on? And that was what I was talking about when I said that the tensions between these two were just going to keep rising. And this is the exact scene that I'm very worried about, because they're family. They're not supposed to be fighting against each other. And I'm just very worried of what the heck is going on, because, like, you two are don't stress. But then there is a small possibility that this is all a ploy. This is all, like, there is going to be a plot twist that Daryl is doing another double agent thing, because we saw how Carol likes to do her double agent things for Alexandria, and I'm pretty sure Daryl can now do that, since he has been doing double agent stuff, or like double crossing with the Reapers, and now with the Commonwealth. Like, but then that's a long shot, because I don't know, like, they have been building tensions between these two for like the entire episode, and I'm very concerned, and I'm pretty sure this is just to like make everyone be like, what the hell has happened in the last 6 months for these two who see each other as family to fight like this, to be on literal different sides of the war. And it's just very concerning. I really hope that it's that the double crossing thing and Maggie knows that Daryl's still on her side, but I don't know anymore. I don't know what to think anymore, guys. I really liked this episode, and I think it was really, really fitting for a mid-season premiere, even though it's 3 parts. So would that be second, third season premiere? Basically, season 11B season premiere of The Walking Dead. And I just found it was really, really nicely done, because there was enough action sequences to keep you drawn into the show, and it just brought you back to exactly where we had left off. And they ended an arc, and then right after brought back, well, not brought back, but then they brought you into a new arc with the Commonwealth, and then there's that final scene that makes you think, what the heck is happening in the next 6 months of the show? And like, I think it was really, really well done. And just a little thing that I did not like too much, though, was like, yeah, it was building up to the final Reaper battle, but then I felt that was cut a little short. If anything, I think that could have been done all in season 11 part A, but they still worked it really well into ending it and then continuing on with a completely new arc for us to look forward to. And then there's also a bunch of the throwbacks I got personally from this episode, and the soundtrack stuff. So I'm definitely going to rate this episode rather high. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10, just because there's a combination of like arc endings, arc beginnings, potential plot twists that I'm hoping for, wondering what's going to happen in for the rest of the season, for the rest of the 6 months. Why are they fighting? I don't want you to fight, please don't. And then the technical stuff, like the soundtrack stuff that really gets to me. And then there's the throwbacks. So yeah, this episode I'm going to give a whopping 9 out of 10. Alright, so that was my review of The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 9, No Other Way. If you guys agree with what I said or disagree with what I said, please let me know down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you guys have not yet subscribed to my channel and you would like to know about more future content of mine, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you do not miss a video. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.